In Stoic philosophy, one of the core elements is the cultivation of inner peace, wisdom, and emotional resilience. Part of achieving this is through the process of self-awareness and emotional independence. These two principles work hand in hand, allowing us to build stronger, more grounded relationships, not based on dependency or fear, but on mutual respect and the ability to grow as individuals. Let's break down these two key ideas further to understand how they function in the Stoic context. Focusing on the first 2 points, confronting the fear of being alone and guarding your past. Confront the fear of being alone. One of the most common human fears is the fear of being alone. Many of us are conditioned to believe that solitude equals loneliness, a state that must be avoided at all costs. This societal pressure often pushes us into relationships or commitments that aren't truly fulfilling, but instead serve as a way to mask the discomfort of being by ourselves. But in Stoic philosophy, solitude is not seen as a weakness or something to be feared. Instead, it is regarded as a crucial period for personal growth and reflection. The Stoics, especially figures like Seneca and Epictetus, viewed solitude as an opportunity to develop a deeper understanding of oneself. It's in these moments of aloneness that you can cultivate a sense of inner peace and emotional resilience. This philosophy challenges us to confront our own thoughts and emotions, rather than relying on external validation or relationships to feel complete. Aristotle's insight that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom perfectly aligns with this Stoic belief. In fact, the more comfortable you become with being alone, the more emotionally independent you become. You realize that you are not defined by your relationships or your need for external company. Your worth is not contingent on your social interactions. It is inherent within you, and it grows through introspection and self-reflection. Being alone provides the time to build self-sufficiency. It allows you to identify your values, desires, and goals without the interference or influence of others. In relationships, this mindset enables you to engage with others from a place of strength, not desperation or fear of solitude. When you aren't afraid of being alone, you have the freedom to choose relationships that bring genuine value to your life, rather than clinging to unhealthy connections out of fear of loneliness. Thus, confronting the fear of being alone is essential in the Stoic journey. It forces you to build resilience and confidence within yourself. It is about developing a strong sense of self that can stand firm regardless of external circumstances. Embrace solitude as an opportunity for growth, self-awareness, and clarity of mind. When you can do this, you will no longer feel the need to seek companionship simply to avoid being alone. Instead, you will form deeper, more meaningful connections with others who add value to your journey, not just as a remedy to your loneliness. Guard your past. The second principle in this part of Stoic philosophy is the idea of guarding your past. Our personal history shapes who we are, but it does not define us. However, in relationships, there can be a tendency to share every detail of our past, especially the difficult or painful experiences, believing that this openness will create closeness or trust. While honesty is crucial in any healthy relationship, Stoicism teaches us that there is wisdom in protecting parts of our history that are irrelevant or could potentially be used against us. In Stoicism, the focus is on the present moment and the future, not on rehashing the past. This is not to say that we should ignore or suppress our history, but rather that we should guard it wisely. As Eddie Nickers wisely states, old ideas may come back to challenge us. If we lay ourselves bare without consideration of the consequences, we may invite judgment or manipulation based on things we've gone through, rather than being seen for who we are now. Guarding your past doesn't mean keeping it a secret. It means sharing what is necessary for the growth of a relationship, while protecting those parts of your history that do not serve the present. For example, you might choose to share that you've experienced difficult times, but you wouldn't need to go into every painful detail or dwell on the negative. The Stoic approach is about learning from the past and using those lessons to move forward, rather than letting past experiences define your identity or influence how others view you. Another important aspect of guarding your past is recognizing that your experiences, both good and bad, are part of your journey. They have shaped you into the person you are today, but they should not be the sole basis upon which others judge you. Stoicism teaches us to embrace resilience and focus on the present and future, rather than being stuck in the past. By selectively sharing your history, you maintain control over your narrative, ensuring that your worth is not tied to past mistakes, failures, or wounds. Furthermore, when you guard your past, you maintain a level of mystery and respect for yourself. This can deepen relationships by keeping an element of self-preservation and allowing others to see you for who you are in the present, rather than what you've been through. The past is important, but it should not be an anchor that holds you back or an excuse for your current behavior or mindset. In a relationship, when both parties understand the importance of guarding their past, there is room for growth, mutual respect, and understanding. You can acknowledge the past without allowing it to control you or define your relationship. The goal is to maintain emotional independence while building a connection based on shared values and present experiences, not on past baggage. To manage your time wisely, in Stoic philosophy, time is regarded as one of the most valuable resources we have. It's not merely about how much time we have, but how wisely we use it. Seneca, in his letters, frequently emphasized that it's not that our lives are short, but that we waste too much of it. This idea is crucial in the context of relationships and personal growth. How we spend our time directly impacts the quality of our lives and our relationships with others. When we focus too much on others, especially in ways that detract from our own goals, we begin to squander time. Time is a finite resource, and once it's gone, we cannot reclaim it. For example, if we devote endless hours to someone who does not reciprocate that time or attention, we are not valuing our own life or emotional well-being. Stoicism teaches that we must be intentional with how we allocate our time, ensuring that it is spent on activities that are truly meaningful and fulfilling. In relationships, this means setting clear boundaries and being mindful of how much time we give to others. While spending time with loved ones is essential, it should not come at the expense of your own growth, health, or happiness. Stoics advocate for finding balance, allocating time for personal growth, hobbies, and moments of reflection. This ensures that when you do engage with others, your time is spent in a way that is rewarding and enriching, rather than merely reactive or out of obligation. Moreover, managing time wisely also means resisting the temptation of distractions. In today's world, with constant notifications and digital distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. By practicing mindfulness and intentionality, you can avoid falling into the trap of wasting time on meaningless pursuits. By protecting your time, you protect your peace and ensure that you are investing in the areas of life that will bring long-term fulfillment and purpose. Celebrate your achievements. Another critical aspect of Stoic philosophy is the practice of acknowledging and celebrating your own achievements. Stoics are not against the idea of self-recognition. Rather, they caution against seeking validation from others. In relationships, it's common to seek praise or approval. But Stoicism reminds us that our self-worth should not depend on external admiration. Instead, we should take pride in our achievements, no matter how small, because they represent our personal growth and progress. Epictetus, in particular, stressed the importance of celebrating internal growth. It's not the events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This statement suggests that celebrating achievements is not about grand gestures or public recognition. It's about the internal satisfaction that comes from knowing you've made progress. Whether it's overcoming a challenge, achieving a goal, or making a meaningful decision, take a moment to acknowledge your success. This helps reinforce your sense of self-worth and builds confidence. In relationships, this practice of celebrating your own achievements becomes even more powerful. By recognizing your own growth, you cultivate a sense of self-assurance that will positively impact your interactions with others. You no longer need external validation or approval to feel good about yourself. Instead, you draw confidence from within. This creates a healthier dynamic in relationships, as it prevents you from becoming overly dependent on others for validation, which can lead to insecurity and unhealthy attachment. Moreover, celebrating achievements doesn't mean becoming arrogant or boastful. Instead, it's about fostering a balanced sense of self-respect and appreciation. Acknowledge your progress without the need for excessive external recognition, and allow yourself to feel proud of what you've accomplished. This internal validation is a key component of Stoic wisdom and leads to greater emotional independence and personal fulfillment. Safeguard your mental health. In our increasingly fast-paced world, protecting one's mental health has become more important than ever. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of mental clarity, emotional resilience, and protecting one's peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of guarding one's mental state from external disturbances, advising, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In relationships, it can be all too easy to let someone else's actions or emotions dictate how we feel. Whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or even a family member, their behavior can sometimes take a toll on our emotional well-being. However, Stoicism teaches that we must take control of our mental state. Your mental health should never be sacrificed for the sake of someone else's comfort, demands, or expectations. Just like you wouldn't burn your house down to warm someone else, you should never harm your peace to keep someone else happy. Protecting your mental health means setting boundaries. It means not allowing others to drain your energy or manipulate your emotions. In Stoicism, it's essential to understand that we cannot control other people's actions or feelings, but we can control our reactions to them. By practicing emotional detachment and cultivating a mindset focused on peace and resilience, you can maintain control over your mental state, regardless of the circumstances around you. In relationships, this doesn't mean becoming emotionally distant or cold. Instead, it means recognizing when someone's behavior is affecting your mental health and taking the necessary steps to protect yourself. It may mean having difficult conversations or distancing yourself from toxic relationships. But above all, it means putting your mental well-being first. When you take care of your own mental health, you are better equipped to engage in healthy, balanced relationships that are built on mutual respect and understanding. 6. Be true to yourself. One of the most profound teachings of Stoic philosophy is the importance of authenticity. In a world where societal pressures often push us to conform and seek validation from others, living authentically is an act of courage and self-respect. Albert Camus succinctly captures this idea with his reminder, "Live your life in your own way." When it comes to relationships, it's easy to feel the urge to please others by suppressing parts of yourself. You may agree to things you dislike or act in ways that don't align with your true self, all in the name of making someone else happy. However, this ultimately stifles your growth and diminishes your sense of self-worth. Stoicism teaches us that the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. It's about embracing who you are, flaws and all, and not pretending to be something you're not. When you live authentically, you free yourself from the chains of expectation, comparison, and judgment. You are no longer driven by the desire to please others or meet external standards. Instead, you act in alignment with your own values, principles, and desires. In practice, living authentically means learning to say no when something doesn't align with your values or when you feel pressured to compromise your integrity. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but Stoicism encourages us to face that discomfort and understand that it is a natural part of living truthfully. By setting boundaries and staying true to yourself, you naturally attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not for the image you project. These genuine connections are far more fulfilling than those built on pretense, and they provide a solid foundation for healthy relationships. Don't sacrifice your path for others. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, warned against the dangers of trying to be everywhere at once. He stated, "If you're trying to be in too many places, you're really nowhere." This insight highlights an essential principle. When you spread yourself too thin in an attempt to meet others' needs or expectations, you lose sight of your own path. In relationships, it's tempting to sacrifice your own goals, ambitions, and dreams in order to fit into someone else's narrative or to please others. However, Stoicism teaches that your personal journey is just as important, if not more so, than anyone else's. When you abandon your path to follow someone else's, you risk losing your sense of purpose and identity. You might start to feel like you're living for others rather than living for yourself. This loss of direction can lead to feelings of frustration, resentment, and ultimately dissatisfaction. Stoicism encourages us to remain true to our own values and aspirations, regardless of the demands or desires of those around us. Staying true to your journey doesn't mean rejecting relationships or becoming selfish. Rather, it means recognizing that you must prioritize your own growth and goals. A healthy relationship is one in which both individuals support and encourage each other's pursuits, rather than one in which one person's dreams are constantly subordinated to the other's. Walk your path with confidence, knowing that by doing so, you are not only staying true to yourself, but also fostering a stronger and more genuine connection with others. Prioritize relationships with friends and family. In Stoic philosophy, relationships with family and friends are foundational to personal growth and well-being. Plato famously compared people to soil that either nurtures or hinders your growth. In this analogy, your friends and family are the fertile ground that supports your development as an individual. They offer a source of wisdom, guidance, and comfort throughout life's challenges. In relationships, it's important not to neglect the people who have always been there for you, those who have seen you through your ups and downs, and who genuinely care about your well-being. When we get involved in romantic relationships, it can be easy to shift our focus entirely onto the new partner, often at the expense of existing relationships with family and friends. However, Stoicism teaches that our foundational relationships, those that have stood the test of time, are essential for maintaining balance and emotional stability. These are the relationships that have shaped us and supported us, and they should not be abandoned for the sake of external approval or romantic attachment. Valuing and nurturing your relationships with friends and family doesn't mean neglecting a romantic partner, but rather ensuring that you don't lose sight of the people who have been part of your life's foundation. By maintaining these bonds, you create a support system that provides strength and resilience when life gets challenging. They are the people who remind you of your values, offer honest feedback, and keep you grounded. Don't sacrifice these relationships for someone else's approval or to fit into a new social dynamic. Your family and friends are the bedrock of your emotional health and well-being. Avoid obsessive devotion. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, warned against becoming overly fixated on any one person. Obsession disrupts your balance and undermines your sense of self-worth. When you fixate on someone, whether a partner, friend, or even a figure of admiration, you begin to lose your independence and your ability to maintain emotional equilibrium. Obsessive devotion can cloud your judgment and make you overly reliant on someone else for your happiness and validation. Stoicism encourages us to recognize that we are the architects of our own happiness, and no one should have the power to overshadow our individuality. You are the star of your own story, not a supporting character in someone else's. When we become obsessed with someone, we begin to lose sight of our own goals, values, and dreams, instead letting the other person dictate our actions and emotions. This is a dangerous path, as it leads to self-neglect and emotional imbalance. By avoiding obsessive devotion, you reclaim control over your life and emotions. You learn to cherish and enjoy the relationships you have without becoming overly dependent on them for your sense of self-worth. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, autonomy, and personal growth. You should never allow someone else to define who you are or dictate the course of your life. Instead, cultivate a sense of self-sufficiency and emotional resilience that enables you to thrive, regardless of the ups and downs in your relationships. 10. Embrace emotional resilience. One of the core tenets of Stoic philosophy is resilience, the ability to withstand adversity with composure, self-control, and clarity. In relationships, emotional resilience is indispensable. Relationships, no matter how strong, will inevitably face challenges. There will be disagreements, misunderstandings, and moments of emotional turbulence. However, it is not the challenges themselves that define the relationship. It is how we respond to them. Emotional resilience means understanding that suffering and difficulty are a natural part of life. Whether it's dealing with conflict in a romantic partnership, managing tension with a friend, or navigating personal disappointments within a family, The way we react determines the outcome. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. Rather than being swept away by emotions or reacting impulsively, we are encouraged to approach each situation thoughtfully and with calmness. When faced with difficulties, emotional resilience involves pausing and reflecting before reacting. This is an important aspect of Stoic wisdom, recognizing that impulsive reactions often lead to regret, whereas a measured, thoughtful response preserves your peace of mind and keeps you aligned with your values. For instance, if a partner says something hurtful or a friend betrays your trust, a resilient person does not immediately retaliate or become consumed by anger. Instead, they take a step back, assess the situation, and respond with wisdom and patience, understanding that emotional reactions are temporary, but the consequences of actions can last much longer. In relationships, this resilience does not mean suppressing emotions, but rather managing them effectively. It is about understanding that emotions, while natural, should not dictate our actions. By practicing emotional resilience, we become stronger in our relationships, able to face conflict and adversity without losing our sense of self or our peace of mind. It also creates a safe space within the relationship where both partners can express themselves openly and resolve issues calmly and constructively. Dice. Foster mutual growth. Another cornerstone of Stoic philosophy in relationships is the idea of mutual growth. A relationship, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, should never stunt the development of either individual. Instead, it should be a platform for both people to grow together, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. This is not to say that relationships should be focused solely on self-improvement, but rather that both parties should encourage and support each other's individual journeys. Stoicism teaches that personal growth is a lifelong pursuit. The Stoics themselves emphasize the importance of continuous learning, self-reflection, and striving to become better versions of oneself. This principle applies to relationships in the sense that a healthy partnership is one where both people are continually evolving. A relationship that stifles personal growth or demands that one partner abandon their dreams and ambitions for the other is not a Stoic relationship. It is one based on unhealthy dependency. In practical terms, fostering mutual growth involves supporting each other's goals, ambitions, and personal development. It means encouraging your partner to pursue their passions and dreams, while also seeking the same for yourself. In a Stoic relationship, both individuals actively support one another in becoming the best versions of themselves, both inside and outside of the relationship. This dynamic creates a partnership built on respect and shared growth, rather than competition or stagnation. It's important to remember that true intimacy in relationships comes not just from shared experiences, but from shared growth. When both partners feel encouraged and empowered to grow individually, they bring more to the relationship, not only in terms of personal strength, but also in the capacity to contribute to each other's happiness and well-being. For example, imagine a couple where both partners are committed to their own personal development, whether that involves pursuing a new career, developing a new skill, or focusing on personal well-being. In this dynamic, they encourage and cheer each other on, celebrating each other's successes and supporting each other through challenges. This mutual growth ensures that the relationship remains vibrant and fulfilling, as both individuals continue to evolve and enrich each other's lives. Ultimately, Stoicism is not just about navigating the challenges of relationships. It is about becoming the best version of ourselves in all aspects of life. By applying these principles, we can build relationships that are not only enduring, but are also meaningful and fulfilling. Relationships rooted in Stoic wisdom create a foundation of mutual respect, growth, and emotional intelligence, which leads to a richer, more purposeful life. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Stoicism and its application in relationships. By embracing these 11 principles, you are not just transforming your relationships, you are also transforming yourself. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. As always, feel free to leave your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Until next time, stay wise, stay stoic, and continue to grow toward a life of purpose and tranquility.